Last week, our roster was destroyed by Mick Foley, and now it's time to find out what damage was done. Welcome to the hardest MyGM challenge, where we're trying to finish the season 500,000 fans ahead of second place, playing on the hardest settings, whilst only using a roster of jobbers and turning them into global sporting icons in the process. This week is our first premium live event of the season, Summerslam, but it's going to be tough in a week where the hottest female rivalry in jobber history will finally be settled with the Women's Championship on the line. Last week, our lead was cut to 113,000 fans due to Mick Foley playing his Cactus Jack power card, which guarantees 2 long-term injuries to stars that appeared on the card. We had to play things carefully and only put on 4 singles matches with almost no variety, and it's a good job we did. Did you know that Mick Foley can use 2 Cactus Jack cards in Season 2 and injure not 2, but 4 members of your roster? Well, he can, and we're about to find out which 4 members of NXT got injured last week and how long they'd be out for. We all know how big of a price Jackson Smooth paid last year, featuring in the Cactus Jack tweak only to never recover until a miracle cure and prayers in the YouTube comments section brought him back for this season. Fans were shocked and appalled to see Jackson take exactly the same risk again last week. Could he pick up another season-ending injury in a year where he looked destined for greatness? I checked my roster to see the bad news. The first of our casualties, John the Fish Herman. He picked up a 3-week injury, a serious laceration to his inner thigh, narrowly avoiding his fishing rod. His opponent, Adrian Williams, also picked up a 3-week injury. But there were still 2 more casualties to come. Those 2 were Jody Garcia and Ali Brawler. I'm gutted. These 2 weren't playing a massive part in our season so far, but last week they really turned a few heads in the main event. They put their rivalry on the line, and they put on a 4-star performance in a week where many established female stars didn't want to take a risk. They've paid the biggest price, and the fans will not forget this. Your prayers worked for Jackson Smooth last season. Please put your prayers in the comments for our fallen comrades, and put some goddamn respect on their names. There is some good news though. In Season 1, I had no way to recover from the injuries, but because my stamina and injury management is good on the whole, I have a number of injury recovery cards stockpiled in case of emergencies. The bad news? Only 1 of these cards can be applied per week, and the star you use it on will miss that week because they're off at injury rehab. I'm going to prioritise recovering Hell to Pay member Ali Brawler, who picked up the worst of the injuries, and Jody Garcia because she's in a rivalry with Ali, and, let's be honest, those 2 deserve to be back in the thick of the action as soon as possible. But what does this mean for John the Fish Herman and Adrian Williams? Could they miss their chance on NXT altogether? After all, there are lots of other local superstars vying for a spot on the card each week. We'll have to find out when, or if, they ever recover. I checked my inbox messages to see what else there was to attend to before setting up our SummerSlam card. Other than Mick Foley swearing to take revenge on us, even though we were the ones trying to take revenge on him with a couple of power cards of our own last week, Precious Silver popped in to tell me she'd like to appear at SummerSlam. It wasn't a demand, which was nice to see, more of a polite request. I'll have to see what I can do about that. My final inbox message this week was from Triton. What could he want? He wants to team with Jerry Hattrick? Wow, that is a controversial request. Remember, the only loss Jerry Hattrick has ever suffered was in a tag team match. He's undefeated in singles matches, and it was his former tag team partner Kyle Slickman's fault. Triton would be taking a big chance with this request, but it also makes sense. Anyone would want to line up alongside the iconic Jerry Hattrick if they had the chance. So would they be featuring together at SummerSlam? Well, let's go through our show and our results. Our card is stacked this week. And I'm not just talking about Mr. McSlacks. The vacant men's tag team title is on the line, and in the main event, we finally have the Season 1 rivalry to end all rivalries coming to a completion. Penelope Perfect against Trixie Gambit. A level 4 rivalry steel cage match with the women's belt on the line. 2 of the most popular local superstars in the world that have a burning hatred for each other will be going toe-to-toe for the crown, potentially for the last time. Who would come out on top? We could only put on 2 promos this week out of 4 due to all the injuries we have, but that's not going to hurt us too much in the results. Or is it? Our first match would be a level 3 submission match between Cash Suplex and Dante Roberts. The submission match type will bring an end to their rivalry with a small fan bonus thrown in for good measure, and it would help me work towards one of my season challenges too, because I need to put on 5 submission matches this year. Could one of these two be getting a shot for the US title against Jerry Hattrick anytime soon? I'm not sure, but there is potential if they put on a good show for the fans here. People on Reddit have already been calling out for Cash Suplex to have a reign as king. I'm not sure personally, but this is going to be a crazy season, that much is certain. And Dante taps out. Cash Suplex wins to go over in their feisty rivalry. Would it be rated highly? Yes. It was a 5-star opener, a legendary start, and in a long season with an insane challenge like needing a 500,000 fan lead, we're going to need many more 5-star performances like that. Cash and Dante end their feud, but where are the two of them going to go next? We then put on a charity appeal. Pretty Ruthless shows up and does an appeal on behalf of herself. She says, "Do you remember when I appeared in a tag team match way back in week 1? No? Well, I did. Also, please subscribe to Diamond Lobby Wrestling." The fans rate the promo as okay, but most of them had gone for a bathroom break, so would continue to forget about Pretty Ruthless's entire existence. Next up, we had a female tag team match. Extreme Rules. Danielle Wallace, the newest member inducted into Hell to Pay, teams up with Sammy George to take on Maya T. Kirk and the dominant Precious Silver. Danielle and Precious are still beefing hard, and it looks like that's a rivalry that will continue to develop until the next premium live event. They've both partnered with some slightly lesser known talent this week. They might be lesser known, but would they also be lesser talented? Well, Danielle Wallace certainly doesn't seem to think so, as her partner Sammy George takes down Precious Silver and pins her. 1, 2, 3. What a great win for newbie Sammy George, and Danielle is a true asset to this brand. Week after week, season after season, she delivers amazing performances, and we know this one will be highly rated too. Ali Brawler and Trixie Gambit, the original Hell to Pay founding members, will be delighted to see their new teammates winning. And I'm sure Sammy George and Danielle Wallace will be hanging around to see if their teammate Trixie can win in tonight's main event. Oh, this one was a 2-star match. Probably Danielle Wallace's lowest ever rating, and she'd probably have been on track to win the highest average match rating for a second season running, if not for this. She blames Precious Silver for putting on such a poor performance. Try saying that in a hurry. In the middle of the card, we have a men's tornado tag match that is going to get hearts racing. Triton asked to team up with Jerry Hattrick. Who wouldn't want to team up with Jerry Hattrick? And I gave him his chance. Triton and Jerry would face Chuck McWagon and Stacked McSlacks for the vacant men's tag team belt. If Jerry wins, he'd reclaim the third and final belt that he's been desperate to hold ever since losing the same title at WrestleMania. Would Jerry Hattrick be able to hold the Triple Crown yet again? 1, 2, 3. Triton gets pinned. It's the first loss on Jerry Hattrick's record for this season. He loses in a tag team match once again, and Chuck McWagon and Stacked McSlacks become champions. The elusive third belt evades Jerry Hattrick once more. This was a highly rated 4-star match that sees a rising star of NXT, Stacked McSlacks, recognised as a title holder. Stacked McSlacks has now won all 3 of his matches so far this season, and Chuck McWagon finally picks up a win and a title to hopefully stop him from complaining about losing all the time. But where does Jerry Hattrick go from here? Will he be able to pick himself up and go again? Or could this be the start of a dramatic decline? The 4-star result was amazing for us. Trust Jerry Hattrick to put on a show even in defeat. To make matters worse for Jerry Hattrick, Kyle Slickman then jumps on the mic to immediately begin mocking his rival, calling him out and saying that Jerry was running scared of a singles match this week. I don't know about that, Kyle. I doubt a man of Jerry Hattrick's caliber would be running scared, but it gets the fans talking. Could Jerry have been avoiding Kyle this week? Is he scared? It's rated as a good promo, and the rivalry between the two of them grows to level 3. The 4th match on our Summerslam card was, appropriately, a fatal 4-way between 2 pretty big stars and 2 jobbers that put their bodies on the line last week and deserve to be rewarded for it with an appearance at our biggest event of the season so far. This match would be a tables match with fan favourite Jackson Smooth featuring, and he is a tables specialist, so the fans would be optimistic for a Jackson victory. His opponents would be Silence, another strong tables match performer, as well as, oh no, I'd recognise that stench anywhere, Bobby Marquis, and finally, Jerry Sweat, who defeated Bobby Marquis last week. This match had only been going for 1 minute and 25 seconds when Jackson Smooth was slammed through a table outside the ring. That might be the fastest fatal 4-way match result on record. That is so unbelievably classy from Jackson Smooth, once again risking his own physical health to let a youngster go over for his first victory of the season. He clearly knows the risk Bobby Marquis took last week, and he wanted him to be rewarded for it. Jackson Smooth, what a man. However, Jerry Sweat seemed to take offense at Jackson's good deed. Why couldn't it be him that went over? After all, he beat Bobby last week. Surely he deserved it. Jerry Sweat's rivalry grew with Bobby Marquis as a result of the jealousy. The match was rated 2 stars, but I saw 4 potential superstars in that ring tonight. Finally, it was time for the main event. The moment many of you have been waiting for so long. Penelope Perfect against Trixie Gambit, the finale. These two have been rivals for such a long time, and their title matches at our last 2 premium live events were vetoed due to power cards from our rivals. Well, neither were vetoed tonight, and they'd finally get to settle this on one of the biggest stages in wrestling, Summerslam. We need this to be a 5-star result. We've been investing in this one for so long that it's got to pay off. And who is going to have the last laugh in a rivalry that could totally derail the season for the loser? There are lots of new female challengers coming through. It will be tough for the loser of this to work their way back into the title picture, that's for sure. It's a steel cage match between Penelope Perfect and Trixie Gambit, 2 stars that have despised each other for almost an entire season. Penelope's title is on the line tonight, and Trixie has waited so long for this opportunity. Penelope is a fan favourite, Trixie is a heel that's been talking all kinds of smack on Twitter about Penelope, about NXT, and even about me on Twitter for months. Trixie has been calling her out for a long time and absolutely beat her up in their Week 3 tag team match. But would Trixie win again this evening? Well, the winner was Trixie Gambit. She wins the women's title, dethroning Penelope Perfect from the top, and she holds both the singles and tag team belts yet again. She said she'd put Penelope in the dirt, and she did it. I need to see a 5-star match rating here for my challenge, and the 2 of them delivered. That's going to be huge for my quest to win by 500,000 fans because of last week's poor showing, and we really need to get our season kick-started again. We get an amazing booking rating for the show. I'm hoping that we saw a massive gain on our opponents this week. Realistically, we probably need to gain at least 50,000 fans over our rivals, and we gained 148,000 fans. That is not great, and it might not be good enough. What would SmackDown gain? Almost exactly the same amount, only slightly less. This challenge is going to be a lot tougher than I expected. NXT 2.0 gained a lowly 75,000 fans, which shows the gap was possible, but they're basically irrelevant in this challenge anyway. Raw and our huge rival Mick Foley gained 120,000. It's nice to crush Mick in the ratings as always, but even then, I wasn't close to my goal of beating him by 50,000 fans this week. Am I going to be able to recover and start to rebuild a big lead? Where will Trixie Gambit and Penelope Perfect go next? And will Jerry Hattrick be able to recover from his first defeat of the season? He'll be facing fierce rival Kyle Slickman again next week.